Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. We are beyond nostalgia, because you don't expect me to have played all these games when they were first released, do you? Let's go to sometime in November 1982. We were last getting ready for the holiday season, reading Atari Age, but we have to leave the United States and head to Japan for our next release. Our next release is on the Fujitsu FM7. This is this game. Oh, it doesn't look familiar. It's Taku Bakuge Kiki, otherwise known as B-1 Nuclear Bomber, that we saw originally in 1978. Right now, a lot of the games that were first released in United States are getting ported to computers in Japan, and it's happened throughout 1982. We just haven't had a chance to hit on every single release. Some of them, though, were localized for Japan, and this one was. We've already seen B-1 Nuclear Bomber on Apple II, Commodore PET, and the Atari home computer. This one is the fifth game that we've seen for the Fujitsu FM7. It's the brand new hot computer. And you see here the little moniker, it says FM8, has a little sticker over the top because a lot of the first releases that were for the FM7 could also work for the FM8. It's kind of weird because the FM8 was released first and then the FM7. Don't ask me why. I'm just reading the facts that I've amassed all across the internet. This one is by Microcomputer Games. It's still developed because it's the same game. This is the 55th game we've seen by Microcomputer Games. Here's some examples of the screenshot, and it should look very familiar because it's basically identical to what was on the TRS-80. At least the exact same font, because the other systems all have their own thing that they do for it. Instead of Avalon Hill, though, that usually did the publishing, this one was done by Kia, Overseas Industry. So they're going to be doing a lot of the microcomputer games here in Japan, and that's why this, oh, there you go, you can see the publisher and the developer there. And so no Avalon Hill in Japan, only this company. This game is where you have to type a B-1 bomber to its destination. There is no flying, even though it's meant to be like a flying simulation, and destroy the target at its mission. You're going to input text commands, control your bomber's altitude, course, radar, weapons, and so on. And the USSR is going to try to stop you from bombing their targets with an arsenal of MiGs and SAMs. And there's electronic countermeasures, evasive actions, and stuff. But while it sounds like an action game, this is all text. B-1 Bomber, which is called the B-1 Bomber game here on the Fujitsu FM7, is just a text game where you're typing in the commands. The game ends whenever you reach a logical conclusion by deploying your bombs, getting far enough away, returning to base, or being destroyed, and after that you get a short summary for options to play again. We are going to see this game again later for systems like the Commodore 64, MS-DOS, VIC-20, and on the NEC PC 6001, and even more than that because Avalon Hill or Microcomputer Games ended up doing a lot of stuff. This version for this computer, we actually can't play. There is no dump that I can find online. It is an undumped game. If someone wants us to actually play the Fujitsu FM7 version of B-1 Nuclear Bomber, by all means send it to us. We will type our way to glory for the few minutes that we showcase it. But in the meantime, I'm going to have to rate this one as a fat 0 on our rating scale. I could be rating it like all the other B-1 Nuclear Bomber games we played because it's the same game. I'm pretty sure there's no difference between this and all the other ports because that's usually what it is with games from Microcomputer Games. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. We're next going to go to the arcade, and this is Battle Cross. This is our 485th game that we have seen and or played in the arcade. Lots and lots of arcade games to play. Here's the advertisement flyer. Oh, fantastic. We're going to hang out in Japan a little bit longer. Now, the ships don't really look like they're ripping anything off. Most of the time when we see flyers from other countries, usually Japan, the ships are something from Star Wars or Star Trek. It actually looks original, so well done. You have 4 unique, varied patterns that never fail to make players run crazy about. I know, right? It looks hard already. At the bottom, they got screenshots kind of similar to the Taito advertisement flyers. This one's done by Omori Electric. And this is the 4th game that we've seen them do. They did Sky Love way back in the 70s, and then Space Gorilla and Sky Base. That's all that we've seen so far by them. But it looks all right. There's the arcade PCB. Lots of chips they put in there. This one is a very simple. You move around with the 8-way joystick and fire. And the multiplayer mode is just, hot seat multiplayer in the arcade. You're just going to take turns. You don't get to play at the same time. There's the arcade marquee for Battlecross. I am not familiar with this one. We're going to be checking this out together for the first time. Yeah, there's an example of the screenshot. And we don't have a manual. If we did, it probably would be in Japanese and we wouldn't be able to read it. Let's go to the arcade and play Battlecross. This is sometime in November 1982 when it was first unveiled to the world. Cool. They're already starting us off with the title screen. I like it already. Oh, there we go. And breaking down all the points. The Ion, the Rearu, the Dion, the Commander, the Maruda, the Kerasuto, the Hornet. And that's us. Wait, no, it's not us. That's another laser ship we have to destroy. Oh, we get a bonus for getting the UFO. That's awesome. And it's going to go through, in attract mode. Holy cow, look at the size of the ship. Yeah, the attract mode, the attract mode shows you how you die. That's nice. Yeah, I do like that. The way that it has it almost like it's revolving. That's pretty cool. All right, let's put a coin in, or a yen in, and go start. Wow, we get unveiled with a big explosion. I have a ship that can move in all directions. It feels like, I got 8-way joystick is giving me freedom of range. I can go all the way down to the planet. Nothing really happens. Oh, I can even hide behind the planet. Okay. Oh, and then we got a Saturn-like planet with some alien crafts flying out of it. Okay, so it looks like only the enemies can kill me. I'm just messing around just to get used to the controls because it does feel a little stiff. It doesn't feel... I don't know how I dodged that. It doesn't feel like I have a very smooth control of the craft. It also feels like the frame rate isn't running exactly at 60, maybe a little bit less. I wanted to see if I could smash into the planet. Oh, you can't. Yeah, it's only the other enemies that come at you that you can take it out. Okay, so as far as the shot goes, this only has one fire. It's this little pea shooter that comes out of the front. No sound effect, possibly from the emulation. That's not giving me the sound of my shot. But the way that you fire your shot across, I believe this is one shot, but this is a little weird because it'll fire a few times, but then it doesn't respond. So it is, like right now, I am mashing this as fast as I can. It is not responding. It's intermittently responding. No way we get a registration even though we were just messing around. All right, I'll take it. Put it in. Put your initials. Why isn't it? Oh, can you only put one letter? What? This is so weird. Oh, it's like the button to... Oh, you can use an 8-way joystick, but you can't go down to put your high score in. Does that mean we have to scroll all the way through to the end? Imagine the lines in the arcade. Someone's putting their high score in, and you're like, come on, hurry up. I want to get to the game. All right, now let's play for real and go. All right, now I have an idea. I'm going to use what's called a rolling technique to get better shots in. Okay, now we're... Wow, the enemy pattern and movements is still kind of reminiscent to Galaga. At this point, we haven't seen on any systems a game that plays exactly like Galaga, where your ship can get taken up by a force field and then you can use it to increase your firepower. We've seen games that use this pattern, though, of enemy ships, where it's not doing, Galaxian-style patterns or Phoenix or anything like that. It's doing these, like, waves of patterns. Registration again? Oh, it takes so long to put your name in. I don't know if it'll... And you got to roll all the way to the other side. So that one's just maybe a little lazy programming there. Yeah, so at this point, nothing is compared exactly like Galaga. They just have, like, AE is another game we played on home computers that had the enemy patterns are moving that way. All right, more yen. I want to see more screens because this is not the only thing you can play or see. But the thing is, because of the shot, I don't have the ability to destroy a lot of enemies because it seems like the shot times out, plus the frame rate is a little bit slower. But it's a little strange because the game is not like where I have, I'm moving left to right and firing. This is, I have freedom of movement all around the entire screen. So it's not the usual fixed shooter that we play. But it is still all on one screen. I'm not able to scroll. I don't even think I can wrap. Can I wrap around? No. My ship is stuck to the side. Look at this. That's so bizarre. Oh, and now we're on to phase 2. Okay, so next phase has us navigating asteroids. So it's giving us the illusion that we're scrolling, but look at the bottom. You can see that the planet's still there. We're really not scrolling. And we have these turrets to destroy because otherwise they're going to shoot off like these rays of... Oh, we can even shoot the rays of energy. That's nice. But at this point, switching up the gameplay in the arcade is basically standard. Like, even platformers, Donkey Kong Jr., you don't want the same level over and over. We want different levels. And so having a shooter switch up things is great. I'm amazed this is a space shooter. And it's a game title that we have not seen before. And right now, if you touch any one of these asteroids, you will die. Oh, and we're on. Next scene. What is this? So I haven't even seen this one. There's a giant ship at the top. We have bugs flying at. Look how fast these insects are flying at us. I am slowly whittling away at this planet. I don't know. I think I got it. I didn't die, right? Yeah, I didn't die. I didn't lose a life, but maybe we're supposed to destroy the ship that comes by. It looks like I can't destroy the insect, but I'm slowly destroying pieces of really interesting concept. There's just something slightly not polished about the game, considering all the other arcade games that are out there. This is our 378th fixed shooter that we played on all systems. Computers, handhelds, in the arcade. There's a lot of shooters that are supposed to be on one screen, you know, shooting things up. Well, I mean, just more like moving left, right, and fire. So we have a little bit more from this, but let me see if I can take them out from this side. It's supposed to be, it's like three-dimensionally rotating, I believe. Whoa, wait, you can continue from the previous save, inserting go, insert, what? They didn't let us do that in the first scene, so now we can put another coin in. So it's a continue feature in the arcade. If you got enough money, keep going. You can keep trying this scene to see if you can pass it. That's awesome. As I destroy the space wafer. I'm getting a handle of a little more of the shot, but it still isn't that polished. I think this planet's meant to be rotating, and I'm supposed to destroy the whole thing, but I really want to destroy... It won't let me destroy the insect that keeps generating more... Am I even able to finish this scene? Boom! I am. Now we move on to the last one. Oh man, so... Wait, was that the boss? was that the boss? That was the fastest boss. And then it loops. Okay, so now we're back to the beginning. So it will repeat ad nauseum, go for a high score, but looks like... Yeah, at this point, it's just going to repeat what it had before. Very cool. So even though I'm going to describe this one as a fixed shooter, this is pretty close to a scrolling shoot-'em-up. I mean, as close as you can get, even though the pseudo-scrolling scene... Oh, here we go. Can we blow them up? Oh, I want to refuel? I don't know what this... I thought that tether line means my ship could attach to it, but it looks like no, it didn't work so well. That was a really fast final boss. We have better final bosses with Astro Invader. Oh, man. Yeah, so it's bare bones like a scrolling shoot-'em-up, but I'm still not going to call it a scrolling shoot-'em-up. It's one of the closest, though, that we played on any system to this point. The control is being able to move freely around the screen, just moving the joystick around, so it's not giving you the impression of flight or inertia that you would feel whenever you play something like Defender as a scrolling shooter. Oh, we can continue. Go! I don't even push start. Putting the coin in is what creates the continue to keep playing. That's pretty cool. All right, yeah, so yeah. Of all the games we've seen by Omori Electric, they've all been in the arcade. This is the best game by Omori Electric so far. So the geniuses behind all those other games like Sky Love must have been planning this for a long time, and they revealed this as their master plan for arcade games up to this point. We are going to see this one later on the MSX in Japan only at some point. Right now we have no idea what the MSX is. I'll pretend we don't know what it is. Yeah, so because of the unpolishedness of the game, I like the continue feature, though. It's really what keeps it from being great. That's probably where the jank comes from. I always do my best to describe the gameplay because you can watch the game, you can listen to the game, you can hear sound effects and see what the graphics look like, but the whole point of video games is the gameplay. So when you play it yourself, you have a better idea or understanding of how it plays compared to everything else. So this is going to go against everything else we've seen in the arcade up to this point. That's a lot. There's a lot of arcade games. I'd say this is still around the average range for everything you could see or play in the arcade. It does have 4 different scenes, but there's a few things that just don't feel as smooth as the other ones. There's another game we saw in Japan only, like this one, called Rugian. That was when we played recently. That one did the same idea where they're switching scenes and different kinds of shooters, but it was just perfected. They did such a great job, and that one we said was one of the best games you could see in the arcade, so I can totally see this one being overlooked. Yeah, right? And I see that too, Jeremiah. You can see it as a 2, right? Yeah, so yeah, 2.5 from some people. I got some 3s and yeah, 2s. So it's mostly subpar for all the games you could see in the arcade up to this point. I actually won't go as far as saying 2.5. I'm just going to say 3 stars because it does work okay, but it's not doing too many things that pull you away from not wanting to play the game. If you think of all the other arcade games out there. And it is a shooter that's doing something slightly different where it's all on one screen, but it's not necessarily a shoot 'em up where you're scrolling, or auto scrolling for a shoot 'em up. So interesting video game for the arcades. I think we're done in Japan now. Can we go back to the United States? I like that one too. Let's see what our next game is. It's time to go on the TRS-80 color computer. This is Battle of Gettysburg. Let's check it out. All we got for this one is the ad you would have seen in magazines. Over on the far side, you can choose your opponent. It says it's an important new strategy game from Soft Ride. Important. I don't think I've heard that one before. Stop the rebel invaders or die. Okay, we'll probably die. There's the example of the screenshot, and that's it. Just some screenshots. Let's pop in and play Battle of Gettysburg. This is James Woodruff. Soft Ride at some time in November 1982. So for this one, I usually boot up our TRS-80 color computer using disk because sometimes we can get the games to come faster, and it's usually going to have a better experience, at least the disk version of games. All right, so let's go ahead and... oh, it's basic. Maybe it won't be that fast. Gettysburg. Run it. I'm ready. This one is only for the TRS-80 color computer, and it's the 155th game we've played for this home computer. And as far as James Woodruff and Soft Ride, this is the first we've seen for any of them. We have never seen them before. So all you do in this one, for the difficulty levels, you're selecting your opponent. You have to play as the North. You have to go against the South. There is no way you can play different sides in the Civil War. But it is taking place in the Civil War. And it is the Battle of Gettysburg from the Civil War. And if you want to play an easy game, you play number 3, General Pickett. And the higher up you go, everything gets more and more difficult. We are going to go with number 3. I'm going to go against General Pickett. We get a little ditty. Very nice. As we go and fight. This scene that you see here, every gameplay footage I've seen, this is it. This is the map you have. They are not going in the realm of a grid or a hex grid or anything. It's just this map and what you see on the screen. The game is actually playing in real time. As I'm moving the cursor around, you'll notice in the bottom left corner, there are Confederate forces that are slowly moving up. The little pieces are slowly moving up. So if I just sit here, I will lose the game because it is a real-time strategy game, which is so cool. At this point, a real-time strategy game like this is about the 5th that we've seen so far in the show. Survival of the Fittest, Citron Masters, and Battle of Britain was one we just checked out, so it's still rare to see a real-time strategy game. Oh, you're already gonna go 1, Jeremiah. Oh, yeah, because of the content, I guess. That's what it is. Yeah, so this one is the American Civil War. This is the 4th game we played that takes place during the American Civil War. It uses the analog joystick of the TRS-80 color computer to move the cursor around, but I have my forces, which is right here. When you come across your forces, you literally pick them up. You move your force where it needs to go and then let go. Like that. Did everyone see? I move the cursor, I pick up my unit, and I hold down my button on the joystick, and I drag it to another location. So in a very bizarre alternate history of this American Civil War, you are teleporting your units around the battlefield. I wonder how far I can teleport my units. Like, I completely move past the troops, the Confederate troops, and can I go all the way to the top now? Let's just go... Yes, you can. What is going on? Look at this. You can... So it is definitely not realistic, but it is ambitious trying to do a real-time strategy game, just like this. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and being able to move multiple units around is a nice touch, but a video game taking place with historical events, you know, North America, Civil War. That's kind of what it feels like. But moving the cursor around freely, that's just so bizarre. At least the way it's done here on the TRS-80 color computer, because we've seen games like Eastern Front 1941, and that cursor was on the Atari home computer. That one was done a little bit better, but you have to remember it was digital joystick. This is the analog, being able to move your units around. God, it's so touchy. The drift, at least the way that I have the controller emulated right now, it's so touchy. Oh gosh, don't even bring up that game. Battle Chess, we're not going to see that for a long time. It'll be a scary, scary day when Chronologically Gaming plays Battle Chess. So where's the battle, I'd like to know? We just had a Confederate unit move right past our unit and nothing happened. I don't think so. That's a possibility too, Psychosis Media. I always say that every single video game has a story behind it that you could be exploring. Is this supposed to be water? Yeah, I can literally just warp my units anywhere I want. That is crazy. Oh gosh, yes. Yeah, I love it, Pal Puck. There's no way. The other thing you have to consider too is I mentioned the real-time strategy games, but strategy games in general are being destroyed by SSI, Strategic Simulations Incorporated, on other home computers. Plus, if you had the TRS-80 color computer, there's a few other options. It's true that this computer itself wouldn't have that much as strategy goes. You're going to get the best ones on the Apple II because of SSI and because of Avalon Hill. They are going to be getting other releases at some point, but you might like it if you only had this computer. I'm going to include links down below for Curtis Boyle's website, because he has a lot more write-ups about this specific strategy game, as well as we always give a nod to the Wargaming Scribe, because he goes into this game and lots of other strategy games even more depth than we do here with our quick showcase for all the games up to this point. So it's a hard sell. It really is. The Battle of Gettysburg is... if you only had this computer, you'd enjoy it, but since we're rating this against all the computers that you could play at this point, you can see the element of real-time strategy happening. You see the enemies moving right in front of you. But the simplicity of this one, it really brings it lower than everything else you can see up to this point. That's right. And I do reference, Curtis, your website quite a bit to get information on the screenshots and a backstory, because you usually you have a heads up of what the developer was doing at the time and how they developed the game. So lots of good information there on that website. When your website went down, Curtis, it was a sad day when we wanted to research and look up anything on the TRS-80 color computer. All right, so this is pretty much all I'm going to show. Thank you for playing Battle of Gettysburg. Sadly, the Confederate forces won. Or what did they say in the advertisement? Stop the rebel invaders or die. Well, we died, apparently. And of all the games you could play across all home computers, I first would say if this was on the TRS-80 color computer only, I might say 3 stars, pretty average, because the real-time element would be driving this a little bit higher if it was only for the TRS-80 color computer. But this is against all the computers that are out right now, all over the world. It's pretty low. I'm going to say probably 1.5, maybe 2 stars if you twisted my arm, because there's not a lot of depth either. Even if you were a strategy war game fanatic, this one wouldn't appeal to you that much. Oh, yes, Ark Royal. And we're going to see them later. So in the chat, I only saw a couple thrown out. And I can understand, because this genre, for everyone that's watching on the show, whether you're here for the live show or if you tune in whenever we later whenever we post the video, most gamers right now aren't as this is still a very niche genre. And so I'm sure when you're watching this, you really know how to rate this, because these are the kind of games that you would be playing for a few weeks at a time to get used to the mechanics. You know, how random are the battles, or how obvious are you going to be able to win and actually understand the strategy behind the game. And it's not really everyone's cup of tea. Most people that are tuning into the show, they want to see the arcade games, they want to see the action games. I mean, this is the world of Atari, ColecoVision, you know, and consoles like that. So I can understand it's not everyone's thing to rate on. Yeah, there we go. That 1.5 to 2, they're awesome. Yep. Oh, that's true. Tried graphics. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but mostly there. Oh, it would have been, yeah, maybe a little faster responding. That makes sense to do it that way. Yeah. All right. And that's where we got to put our video game playing on pause. We have already had not as long of a night as we usually do. We have a few more games that are coming up before we finish November 1982, because we have to go through everything that was released at some time in November. But next time on Chronologically Gaming, we have a new look for a 3D maze game, a new game by Bez that's not as bizarre as you'd think, and another Namco hit comes home officially for the first time to the Sword M5 home computer, which means we're hanging out in Japan a little bit longer. That's it for today, and like I always say, we will always uncover more video games that you have never heard of. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.